Yeah, we're
Yes,
live.
sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to episode 3. I know it's been a while, guys, since we've been on since our last episode. Just some things that happened, but needless to say, we're all good. We're healthy. We're fine. We're back. Um, so, episode 3 of the Swoosh Hoops podcast. Tonight we talk about obviously Ben Simmons. Right. That's the topic of conversation throughout the league. Um, Also, vaccinations, right? What players are vaccinated, what players are not. It's a very small percentage that is not. And we know the fiasco and everything going on around that issue. And our last topic will be about sleeper teams, right? And what team do we kind of see as a dark horse to make some noise in the East and Western Conference, have deep, surprising playoff runs, i.e., like Atlanta Hawks, right? Like last year. So, pack show. We got for you guys today. And yeah, you guys kick it off.
You want to start or
Yeah, let's just jump into the whole Ben Simmons thing. I feel like that's kind of like the talk of the town right now. I wouldn't necessarily say rumors are heating up, but it's
Oh,
just like
it's been on
it's
fire.
it's just like a lot
it's
of drama with that whole scenario. Like I'm hearing the man is threatening to like risk his salary and sit out the season if he's not traded. Um, I feel like what Embiid said can get what he said about the whole situation can be taken two different ways. Like he's for the Ben Simmons or not for Ben Simmons. I'm hearing that the Spurs actually try to reach out a trade for Ben Simmons. There's just a lot going on with this whole situation, and I'm gonna just stop by saying that you guys can take it from there.
so I'll take it from here. It's already on fire. It's a circus, and I believe Ben Simmons is going to sit out the season because if that's if you're telling me that if that you are right now planning to sit out the season because one, you don't like the fans of Philly and they get so hard on you. What makes you think another fan base is going to accept you and your lack of shooting is going to help the team contend?
Mhm.
I was hearing rumors that the Spurs are looking to acquire Ben Simmons. Do I see that's a good fit? I maybe because of Pop. I also seen rumors that New York was a
But
good.
he's on the way out though,
Yeah,
and they trying to hit the reset button on that whole
yeah.
system.
So I'm not sure if that's be a good fit in San Antonio. I also seen that New York is a good fit. That's no way because if you think you
New
can
York with
survive
everybody,
Philly, if you think you could survive Philly with that fan base,
you're not gonna survive
New,
the city.
New York is ruthless, especially the Knicks fan base. They're
You
ruthless.
see what they did to Trey Young last year?
Exactly, exactly. And he didn't even do nothing in his playoff debut, and they're talking about F. Trey Young. So yeah, so it's just a circus.
Mhm.
Um, Doc Rivers try to pour cold water on it. That's not working. Saying that we can still win the championship with Ben Simmons. Like stop it, Doc. Stop it. It's not happening. Just own up to it. I'd rather have him say, okay, he's not here. I'd rather go with the guys that's with me in training camp, and that would have been in end all be all. But nope, they just kept on. They kept on letting the fire up, and then Embiid comes out saying, "Oh, this whole holdout for Ben Simmons is so it's all wacky, it's
Disrespectful.
disrespectful, this and that." And now it's like,
Well, he said it's disrespectful because Ben Simmons said that Embiid, him and Embiid don't work, right? Like that marriage doesn't work anymore, and clearly the Sixers have decided to. They offered Embiid the extension. They clearly have bought into all Embiid, right? And Embiid has just pointed out, like, yo, like, and again, I'll talk about it. Go ahead, Eric, because I'm like, I feel like I'm intruding on what I want to talk about. But go ahead, keep going,
so
keep going.
what I was saying was that Doc Rivers was trying to pour cold water on the situation. It didn't work. We also talked about Embiid, who now is the face of the franchise, who just signed a $200 million extension, saying that it's disrespectful what he's doing, this and that. So clearly, we see the falling apart of the two superstars and how they mesh, and it's not worked. It hasn't worked since they came together. They never been to the conference finals with those two superstars. If you think about it, because if you think about it, the last 4 years they never made it out to the second round, and they were shut down in the first round with that one time in the bubble. So that tandem has not worked at all.
They was all beat up and injured though.
They were beat up, injured, so inconsistent. I know they had Brent Brown as a head coach, but still, if you had those two as a tier top talent on your roster, you should at least make the conference finals in one of these years. And along with the pieces they had around them, there was no excuse for them not to be a second round team.
Right.
So I think they're gonna have to swallow the pill, move on. Ben Simmons, and there was if you remember last week, there was a rumor saying that the couple of Sixers teams were trying to fly out to LA to meet him.
Yeah, and he was like, "Duh."
No, don't even think about it. Which should tell you that he does not want to be in Philly. He even told management, he told his agent Rich Paul that he doesn't want to be there. So it's gonna go right into training camp, to this preseason, regular season. So it's a dumpster fire. Am I happy about it? Yes, that's because that's one team I'm knocking off. And we're talking about another team that's in shambles right now. So that's I'm gonna say that for later. So we'll see how this plays out. So I got my popcorn ready.
Here's the thing. Ben Simmons will not sit out this season. It's either one or two things are going to happen. Because as much as this makes Ben Simmons look really bad, it makes the Sixers look just as bad. And I'm going to tell you why. The Sixers were trying to trade Ben Simmons for about 2 seasons now. For about 2 seasons. So you can't necessarily blame Ben Simmons about his frustrations, right? Because, and I'll make this point too. Like, he signed the extension, and he's at a fault for some of that too. But I'm staying on the Sixers for a second. He was in trade talks for 2 straight seasons, producing at a high level. It may not be offensively. Yes, we understand that. But defensively, he is a top 5 all NBA defender. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So you have to understand, too, a player of his caliber who's constantly trying to find, dare I say, his fit, so to speak, on this team. The team always evolved around Joel Embiid, and based on his quote today, he felt totally indifferent about that. But Joel Embiid's always been injured. So the team, and throughout the 4 years, Eric, as you pointed out, that they've made it to the second round and no further than that, every one of those years, Joel Embiid was injured. Every single one. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily Ben Simmons' fault that
it's more blame on the
Sixers had the shortcomings. It was more so the front office was a bit wacky when he got drafted there. Then with Sam Hinkie and all those guys, and then you had the Colangelos, and it was just like a whole mix up. Just the tanking and all that stuff. Like, you got to understand too. Like, at the end of the day, like those tactics and that type of, I would say, acceptance for leadership, where it's like we're okay with losing right now. That kind of sets a precedent in your organization. Mm-hmm. That's one, right? 2, when Ben Simmons got there, who was responsible to ensure that he was training, all the time, working on his game and things of that nature? Like, you gave him that contract with the skill set that he has.
Right.
Yeah.
And hoping that he was going to be better.
But at the same time, you gave him the contract for what he was, not what he was going to be.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you knew what the type of player he was all these years.
They wasn't banking on the potential
right
back then.
So at the end of the day, the organization is also at fault too. The other flip coin though, Ben Simmons. At the end of the day, and I hate to do comparisons like this, but Stephen A. Smith made a point, and he's absolutely spot on about this. If Ben Simmons has a jump shot, he's LeBron James 2.0. There's no other comparison you can.
I feel like everybody can agree on that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just hate, setting players up to this expectation that, I mean, come on, LeBron James is all world. Like that's like how I felt when like people were saying Devin Booker was like, oh, that's the next Kobe. It's like, no, he's the next Devin Booker. There's only one Kobe. There's only one LeBron. There's only one, so it's only one Kevin Durant. So it's just like, I see the comparison, but I get it. I understand it. If he just developed jump shot or was a little bit more aggressive going to the rim and not being afraid to shoot free throws, then we wouldn't have this conversation. But at the end of the day, he was involved in all those trade talks. Now he's at a standstill where he doesn't want to be there because obviously, call it what you want. Yes, he had a terrible playoff series. He only took 3 shots in the fourth quarter of all 7 games, which is insane. He only took 3 shots in the fourth quarter.
And that's your starting point guard.
Right. So I understand the lack of aggression, the lack of awareness, the lack of just wanting it, right? Like, and not year after year, summer after summer, not working on your game. Like, we're tired of seeing the videos, and you in the little gym, whatever it is, you're shooting and you're doing all this, but
everybody can shoot like Curry in the gym.
Yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, look at the bubble.
Look at Steven Adams.
Shooting was extraordinary at a high clip during the bubble because there were no fans. It was a
controlled environment. So
So at the end of the day,
free range.
So at the end of the day, yes, he has to own up to that and face the fact that, like, damn, like I really effed this up. I didn't perform well. But it wasn't just him. So it's like people forget in that game 7 at home when he passed up the dunk for Tybal, when he made only 1 out of 2 free throws. The possession before that, when they had the ball, who turned over the ball? That was Joel Embiid that turned over the ball.
Yeah, so, 8 of them.
Right. So yeah, he had 8 turnovers in that game, and no one talks about that. So there's both parties are at fault.
And that also puts the onus on Doc Rivers.
Well, and I'll get to that, but but both parties are at fault, and this is why this is so ugly, because each party is pointing the finger at each other. No one's trying to take accountability for what they've done.
Right.
And then obviously after the whole Brett Brown thing, whatever you had Doc Rivers, who was hired as the head coach. Listen, I love Doc. I'm all for black coaches in the league because we need more black coaches. But we all know what he did the year prior, right? When he's with the Clippers, he blew a 3-1 lead. It's not the first time he's done it. He's done it in Orlando. He's blown a lead. He's done it with the Clippers twice. You know what I'm saying? So, and now you got that trajectory following him with the Sixers. The comment he made, obviously, you don't say that, regardless of how it. Because all week these guys during media week been playing cleanup with their comments that happened 3 months ago. It's too late now, right? So you said what you said. Move on. Here's why I say Ben Simmons will not sit out this year. They're getting pennies on the dollar for Ben Simmons. It doesn't matter how you slice it. You're not going to get a James Harden-esque deal for him. You're not going to get another superstar in return. You're going to get a star probably, but at most you're going to get comparable role players along with draft picks that you could possibly package in another deal to get something else. And that's just what it is. Because at the end of the day, the longer Ben Simmons sits, the longer the distraction this will be for their team and their organization. Because as soon as they start having a losing streak, as soon as things don't look right,
they're gonna blame it on Ben.
As soon as Joel Embiid gets hurt and there's no Ben Simmons, they are fucked. So
they're falling apart.
You can't sit there and say, well, we'll sit, we just won't pay him, he'll sit out. That's fine if you want, and that's cool. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm not saying it's right either. At the end of the day, you have to do what's right for your team now.
Exactly. Yep.
So at the end of the day, and especially, I'm just saying, and I hope this doesn't happen, but who knows? If Kyrie Irving can't play 40-something games this year with the Nets, that leaves a window for the Sixers to kind of, maybe we can contend with the Bucks, and maybe we get a shot into the finals this year. You never know what's going to happen. So I don't believe 1 second that the Sixers are going to stand pat and sit and say, that's fine, you can sit out. You take us to arbitration. That'll take a few years to happen. Sit out. We just won't pay you. And then your starting point guard is going to be Tyrese Maxey, or it's going to be Shake Milton. Good luck with that. It's not going to work, especially, and I understand those Philly fans are not happy with Ben Simmons, and they shouldn't be, because also at the end of the day, Ben Simmons should want to come back and be like, I'm going to prove everybody wrong and show you guys I put in the work so we can have a better playoff season coming up. But evidently, that's not what's happening. So at the end of the day, the Sixers got to stop acting like, they hold all this control. At the end of the day, Ben Simmons has the leverage right now. As much as we want to say he's under contract and all that, he has the most leverage because he is causing the disruption that they don't need in order to be a championship contending team and to focus. That's the problem. So, to me, I would say we're basically in October. No further than November, Ben Simmons will be playing on another team.
Well, who though?
That remains to be seen, because at the end of the day, again, it could be anybody now at this point, because again, the Sixers cannot get what they think they deserve for him.
This is like the best of the sweepstakes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like whoever has the best deal at this point, just take it. So
are you gonna have to get like a whole overhaul of draft picks?
You're gonna have to,
role players.
Honestly, it may just be a 3-team deal where they can get a star in that deal, and that one team gets Ben Simmons, and the other team who's giving away the star gets all the draft picks. Right. So again, we'll see how this pans out. I think the best deal for them right now is to go after CJ McCollum and make that work. I think if you when I did the little trade machine thing, if you just add Ben Simmons and Shake Milton for Robert Covington and CJ McCollum and a couple draft picks, the deal works. So I think if you add CJ McCollum and you probably try to get a comparable point guard somewhere or whatever the case is, or at this point, man, I think John Wall would be a better fit for the Sixers than Ben Simmons would be. At the very least, John Wall's not a great shooter, but he's going to give you hard every single night. Right, he will take the shot, and he'll be aggressive on offense. Yeah. Defensively, you're going to lose that. But at the end of the day, you need some type of value in return. You cannot. The longer they hold on to him, the harder it will be to trade him, because you don't know what's going to happen during the season. You don't know if a certain player that you wanted gets hurt. You don't know if another player that you wanted gets traded to another team. Like you don't know what's going to happen, especially with all the vaccination things happening right now. You don't want to roll the dice. Like he's unhappy. He doesn't want to be there, right? And the reason why they don't have the leverage is because he's willing to sit out. Like that's the thing. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It'll be even worse if he says, "I want to go to this team."
It's almost like he got an invisible trade clause. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like low-key, he could kind of pick his, like, I mean, he doesn't have to say where he could go, but it's just like, yo, like, I'm holding y'all up right now. Like
he said, I will play anywhere but Philly.
Mm-hmm. I got a gun to your head right now. Like, you trade me where I want to go.
Exactly. But also at the end of the day, even though he says, I want to play anywhere but Philly, other teams know, guess what? I'm not going to give you my best assets because he wants out anyway.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter. So the longer they hold on to him, the worse it's going to get for that
And
organization.
you're doing other teams a favor too.
Right. Cut your ties, get it over with, move on. Like
Yep.
just back and forth makes no sense. And it doesn't do well for your team right now. So at the end of the day, look, for instance, like Joel Embiid said, our teams have always been built around Ben Simmons' needs. So it was kind of surprising to see what he said.
Yeah.
You can go back to the reason we signed Al Horford. We got rid of Jimmy Butler, which I think was a mistake, just to make sure that he needed the ball in his hands. So again, this tells me Joel Embiid's like, fuck Ben Simmons. Like I'm done with him.
That's what I said. That's what I said in the beginning. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So if your star player is saying, yo, move on from this drama, then Daryl Morey and Elton Brand need to do what they have to do to move on. And that's just it. So in my estimation, Ben Simmons will be playing this season. He won't be sitting out this season. He knows what he's doing. Rich Paul's his agent. They know what they're doing. He will play in another jersey this year.
Okay.
We'll see what jersey he'll wear.
And I'm hearing that, like, even though he has all the leverage, I'm hearing that the Sixers are trying to trade him to a team on the Western Conference. So that's where a team like Portland
Kings.
comes in.
Or Sacramento Kings. That team might come into play.
Yeah, you know, so I don't know.
I don't know. It's gonna be a long season. We just
and we haven't started yet, and we got so much stuff going on.
Exactly. It's like we barely started training camp. We got all this drama happening now. The Ben Simmons situation, the NBA vaccine situation. Let's get into that because so basically
perfect segue.
So basically, New York and San Francisco, you got local mandates where and Toronto where if you're home if you play for those teams in those cities, you have to get vaccinated to practice and to play in those cities. If you don't get vaccinated, then you won't be able to play. And on top of that, the NBA vaccine mandated that if you don't follow the local vaccine mandates, you will not get paid. So what does this do to Andrew Wiggins and Kyrie Irving, the two main players of this whole vaccine mandate? And how does it affect those teams?
I think it's low key. I feel like it's low key ridiculous, you know, that Kyrie could play in a away arena, but he can't play in his own arena, and vice versa for Andrew Wiggins. Like matter of fact, right before we went live, I was just listening to what Jay Will was saying. He was making a valid point, you know, as far as like not being able to pay because you're not playing. So you have somebody like a team in the state that doesn't pay any taxes, right? And opposed to a team like he was saying, like Stephen A. He brought up like New York. Obviously, we're gonna take the money anyway, but now it's just like we're kind of like our hand is reaching into that pocket a little bit more, you know. And whereas opposed to like us, you know, like Washington D.C. or I don't know, let's just say there was an NBA team in like Delaware, we don't have to pay taxes. You know, you're getting your full money up front.
Perfect example, Miami.
There you go. Right.
Florida,
so, exactly. So you get your money straight up. But then in this situation, like it's like in New York or San Fran, like you reaching in my pocket and you're taxing me because like I didn't take this vaccine, you know.
And you know what's funny is that Kyrie was saying that I didn't want this to be a distraction. Well, this is a big distraction.
Yeah, it's gonna be everywhere.
It's so here's one is I don't want to get too political on vaccinations and stuff like that. I understand, you know, how severe COVID has ran rampant thus far for the last 2 years, but I don't agree with mandates. But hey, that's just my opinion.
Yep.
I don't think it's not on anyone's person to force someone to take something they don't want to do.
Right.
Right.
So that's that, right? And I don't care if you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. It doesn't matter to me, right? But it's your choice. But here's the thing I think why this is going to get really tricky for the NBA. Andrew Wiggins, right, had a press conference. I believe it wasn't today; it was yesterday. After practice or training, the second day or first day of training camp, it was for them, and they, the reporters were like kind of like egging him on about like, can you tell us why? What's your the religion and all this stuff? And he was just like, it's none of your business, and it's nobody's business to know. And she had stated to him, you're gonna start getting docked for you're not going to be getting paid, and to play these games that you're going to miss because you're not vaccinated. He was like, that's my problem, not yours. So what that tells me is that if Andrew Wiggins pretty much doesn't care if he's losing money, Kyrie Irving's not going to care either if he's losing money either. He makes a significant amount of more money than Andrew Wiggins does, I assume. So my thing is, guys like D'Angelo Russell, Bradley Beal, Kyrie Irving, Andrew Wiggins, and others, at the end of the day, I think they'll be willing to not play if that's what it calls for, because I think they're gonna if evidently they decide they're not going to take it, they're going to stand on their decisions and say, this is the consequences. I'll see you when I see you. And I'll play in the games I can play in, and I just won't play in the games I can't play in. And the NBA is going to have to decide what they want to do with that. Because obviously it's a star-driven league, and fans fill up the seats.
And it's going to hurt the business.
To see these players play. So It's either going to be one or two things where they say, you know what? In my opinion, this is what the NBA should do. Just do what you were doing the last year or so. If you're not vaccinated, you're going to take ample tests. Doesn't matter the city, blah, blah, blah. But the issue is that it's the government that's mandating, the states that are mandating. If you're partaking in this activity, you must be vaccinated. So there's a lot of legal things they have to kind of figure out. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I can see Kyrie Irving sitting out 50-something games. I can see it. I can see Andrew Wiggins sitting out. I can see Bradley Beal just by their stance and how they've been answering these questions. When they're getting interviewed, they seem pretty adamant. Like, I'm gonna take it when I see
when I'm good and ready.
Right. I'm good and ready. And rightfully so. Like, we shouldn't be forcing, nor should we be pressuring anyone to take the vaccine if they don't want to. It's not something that should be frowned upon either. But we just have to accept their choice. But also at the end of the day, they're gonna have to accept their consequences too, because there are parameters around that, and it is what it is. So I just think at the end of the day, if you're vaccinated or not, kudos to you. But obviously, when a private entity like the NBA, it's tricky. They're going to have to figure out some type of medium, because at the end of the day, it does not make sense if Kyrie Irving, who plays in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn, New York, is mandated that you need to have a vaccine to play basketball.
Right.
In a closed arena, Kyrie Irving cannot play. But if Andrew Wiggins is playing in Brooklyn with the Warriors, he can play.
He can play.
So it doesn't make sense, right? So this is why I feel like those guys are going to have a leg to stand on, because they're going to say, well, I can't play in my hometown, but the same guy who's not vaccinated in his hometown, he can't play, but he can come and play in mine. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up at all. So they have to figure out a way to kind of mitigate this and figure this out, but it's gonna get nasty before it gets nicer. Like it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I feel like this whole situation is gonna shape the league. It's gonna be really, really, really different, especially what you said about like as far as like Kyrie Irving, who's like a marquee name, even though the Brooklyn Nets has a marquee team as it is, finals contender, potential could win the championship. Like, you take Kyrie from that equation, all right, you still got KD and Harden, but still, like, You
Yeah.
know, I know Kyrie fans. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, and the fact that, let's just say if they wanted to go to, we face it, we're all based out of New York. You know what I mean? We all like from Brooklyn. You know, so I have like I'm pretty sure we all know about like at least 10 people that are Kyrie fans. And when Kyrie got traded to the Nets, it was like, oh snap, I'm about to catch Kyrie. Or when he signed to the Nets, excuse me. When he got I'm pretty sure they was like, oh, we about to go catch a game at Barclays to watch Kyrie, you know? And then now, like, the fact that he can't play in his own arena, like, that's kind of crazy. You know, so you mean to tell me if I want to watch Kyrie play, listen how dumb this says. I gotta go to another state to watch Kyrie play, and I live in Brooklyn, and I'm a fan of the Brooklyn Nets. Like, that's crazy. So imagine like the amount of games he might miss out, you know, at home because he can't play. Like that could drastically change like the whole dynamic of like the course of the season. And what you mentioned earlier, Eric, when you were saying like, all right, that could kind of give teams like, all right, we see that the Nets are kind of slacking a little bit, you know. That's like one less team. Not saying like the Nets are going to be completely out the equation, but you know, you have a team like Philly that's also struggling with the absence of Ben Simmons. You know, other teams could be like, yo, like let's go full in. Like, because when we get to
vulnerable.
that, right? So when we get to that point, we ain't got to worry about them because they're dealing with X, Y, and Z.
So I was thinking about this and how this mandate could really affect teams. I was thinking about if this prolongs into like April and May, do teams like select the Nets, do they like go from being in the top echelon in the East to like in the middle of the pack because you're not able to have Kyrie Irving on those home games?
No, because
no.
without
That's
we forget.
That's what I heard. And it was
absolutely not. We forget that when it was just Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, they were up by 40 on the evident NBA champion Bucks. Let's not forget, having those three is a luxury. Like they don't need those. They don't need all three to get through the East and get to the finals.
Just two.
Two of them is enough to get to the finals. Yeah. I don't know if it'll win it, but it'll. Two of them will definitely get them to the finals in the East for sure. But now even more so, it's like, damn, I'm glad we traded for James Harden, because imagine if James Harden wasn't on this team.
Yeah,
right. Imagine if James Harden wasn't on this team. Whoa. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole. Now we're talking about middle of the pack playing the Brooklyn Net team. So, again, listen, are the Nets a championship contender without Kyrie Irving? Yes, they are. Are the Nets the best team in the East without Kyrie Irving? I don't think they're the best team. I would give that nod to Milwaukee. But at the end of the day, they still have arguably the best player on the planet. So, and that person and Kevin Durant can't be guarded not by a soul on this planet and the afterlife. So all I'm saying is we kind of have to wait and see what this shapes out and looks like. And this also, interesting fact, can alter a decision for James Harden, because James Harden has a contract extension that he has not signed yet.
He hasn't signed the contract yet.
So the thing is, if he waits it out to see, okay, what do we look like throughout the year, you know, if we can win a ring or not, and if he decides to say, damn, I'm not winning and I'm not putting up no numbers, I'm out of here. So he may or may not want to stay. So we'll see. Again, this is going to be an ongoing thing all year long, and until Kyrie and others like Kyrie take the vaccine. If they don't take it, then this is going to be an ongoing discussion all day, every day in the NBA.
Yeah. So another team that doesn't need a distraction has a distraction. So
I mean, they had a distraction since last year, you know.
Exactly. So we'll see. I think the NBA is gonna have to come up with some sort of a medium, like Ernest has said, just to like because you cannot have star players out and you're the NBA, you cannot afford to lose money again because you lost money last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're telling me that
You seen these ticket prices? You seen these
superstar players who are not willing to take the vaccine, and you're gonna allow them to miss games because of that. The NBA fan base is not gonna like it. I'm sure the TV network's not gonna like it at all. So they're gonna have to decide where to go next.
Mm-hmm.
So either they got to come with a come to agreement and see where this goes because you cannot afford the NBA to have their big stars out because of the mandate. I get the mandates because it's local. It's by the local states. But the NBA they're gonna have to come to agreement somewhat.
Yep.
So so next topic, let's segue into our final topic of the night will be sleepers. So you're talking about the two top contenders in the East, the Sixers and the Nets might be pegged down to maybe the middle of the pack. We don't know, and so some of the sleepers might creep up because of what's happening. So need to know. I just want to know. Give me your sleeper teams from the East and West, and your reasons.
I feel like for the West it's kind of hard, so I'm gonna just give you the East right now, and because I was sitting and looking at every team, and I'm just like, damn, the West is kind of hard. You know what I mean? Because like I feel like injuries hit the West a whole lot more. So like I know before we went live, we was talking about like just some ideas, or because ESPN, I don't know, somebody. Ernest, you can speak to this. You said somebody on a jump was talking about like the Nuggets being a sleeper team, and I'm just like,
Josh,
like how can the Nuggets be a sleeper team? You know, when they have the MVP on their team, like the reigning MVP on their team, and
I guess his thinking was, because Jamal Murray's out,
somebody's going to step up.
Either someone's going to step up, or the expectation is like, oh, the Nuggets are not going to be good, or they'll be mediocre, at best because their second best player is out. But I mean, and again, here's another issue with this team. Michael Porter Jr. elected not to take the vaccine either. So like it's tricky because now your third best player may not be available for half the season. So I mean,
and he signed the extension.
But again, the state of Colorado, I don't think they don't have a mandate where you have to be vaccinated to play. So he'll be able to play home games.
But do you think that could be a thing, though? I know we kind of get like sidetracked a little bit, but do you think that like what New York is doing, what San Fran is doing, could be an eye opener to other states and cities to be like, yo, like let's try to push this? Do you think?
It depends. It depends on the state.
Because here's the thing: each state has. And I hate to talk politics because politics are pointless, but it's you have state officials who think differently, who believe that this whole thing is a hoax or a conspiracy and whatever the case is, and wearing masks is detrimental, and the vaccine is a government experiment on people and stuff like that. So you have state officials like Ted Cruz, who stands with Kyrie Irving, stands with, my body, my choice, but yet still, motherfucker, Ted Cruz, you elected to control women's bodies. Make it make sense here. But needless to say,
that's another story for another day.
Right, but that's the point I'm making. Like, you can sit there and make laws on women's bodies. A bunch of men can, which is fucking unreal to me, and ridiculous. But yet and still, you're chanting the same "my body, my choice" because you don't want to be forced to take a vaccine. Like, it doesn't make sense. So I don't think it'll push other states to kind of be like, "Oh, I'm going to do what they do," because politics is so rigid and it's all over the place. Like it would The states will never see eye to eye on this topic. Never. So this issue is going to happen in the NBA because the states are mandating and some of the states aren't. So this is why I said this is going to be all season long. This is going to be a total confusion. It's going to be arguments. It's going to be disagreements. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a total mess that the NBA is in the middle of because they don't have jurisdiction to change those mandates, evidently. So,
okay. All right. So I know the original topic before we got sidetracked a little bit. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We here for the talk. You know what I mean? All right. So I started about saying that I might just give you the East one because I feel like I was thinking about them. I'm gonna go with the Wizards, man. I'm gonna go with the Wizards. I know we was talking about the Wizards. I'm gonna go with the Wizards, man. I'm gonna go with the Wizards. Like,
oh my god.
I'm gonna go with the Wizards on this one. I feel like they got a couple dudes on the team who's like, even though Bradley Beal's been like on the trader block and stuff like that, like I feel like they got brothers on the team that's like, yo, I want to prove myself. You feel me? So, I originally was gonna say the Charlotte Hornets, but I'm just like, damn, they're too young. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like with the Wizards, like they have dudes on the team that wants to prove themselves or that has to prove themselves. And we've been kind of clowning the Eastern Conference for the past couple of years. I don't see why not. They wouldn't be able to sneak up in like let's say about like a 7th or 8th playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I got for Eastern Conference.
All right, so for me, I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give you a surprise team that I don't think y'all haven't even thought of. For some odd reason, the Indiana Pacers really give to me as a surprise team. Look at it last year. Even there was quote solid, the whole coaching staff was just in shambles. I didn't like the coach, Bjorken. He was just too. He didn't have the structure. He was getting into fights with his assistant coaches. Assistant coach was getting in fights with players on the basketball court. So it was a mess. So I think with Rick Carlisle bringing
he'll add some stability there.
Get some stability, bring the whole organization back to where it was before, and bring the whole ship together. I just think with the roster they have with Miles Turner and Sabonis, and with the solid core, Malcolm Brogdon, I think they should be one of those surprise, not a surprise team, but one of those teams that sneak up into like one of the top 6, and just like really give some teams some fits during the season, and maybe a playoff round or 2 maybe. But I just think that the addition of Rick Carlisle is going to stabilize that franchise to where it was with Larry Bird before, and who was the forget
Donnie Walsh?
No. Frank Vogel.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you forget Frankie V's name? Come on, man.
Listen.
The best coach in the, you know what I mean? Frankie V.
That's because LeBron and Anthony Davis, all right?
Whoa.
Anyway.
Wait, hold on. Wait, because I gotta cut you off there. When LeBron James and Anthony Davis were out, the Lakers still held the best defensive rating team in the NBA. Let's not forget that. That's coaching. That matters. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, anyway.
Some respect on Frankie V name. What up, Frank Vogel?
Anyway, we're not talking Lakers now. We're talking Pacers now, all right? We're talking Pacers. All right, so I think that the Pacers, they're going to go back to the stability they had with Frank Vogel and with Rick Carlisle before, and then with Larry Bird, and just to stabilize that franchise. And I think they're going to make some strides, make some improvements, and they could surprise and leap some teams over into that top 6. And I'm going to do the West. So let me do the West.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know because everyone seems so stacked.
It's very difficult. I had a hard time choosing, man.
I got my 2 teams. It was easy. I got 3 teams, but it's easy for me.
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead.
I'm gonna go. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna go Sacramento Kings. Okay.
All right, I'm out. I'm not here. I'm
You
not
know
here.
what? No, you're not. Get
Nah,
back here, man.
no way. Not walking up the set, man.
You can't walk up on no podcast set. What's wrong with you?
Not walking up the set, man.
You need to be, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, you need to be banned from talking basketball.
Okay, so here's the thing, though.
I need to hear this.
Yo,
Here's
Eric,
the
go
thing,
ahead,
though.
bro.
Okay, so the top. Okay, you look at the top 10 in who made the tournament last year, who made the playoffs last year. Anyone's going to be back, maybe except for the Spurs. Okay, do I expect the Spurs to be back in the playing tournament? I don't know. I'm looking at New Orleans, maybe I don't know who's there. New Orleans, Memphis, maybe Sacramento sneak into that 10th spot. I mean, it's time for them to at least get competitive and making a playoff or playing push. And with the young roster, with De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley and that crew, they should at least be competitive and at least be a playing tournament at least.
Yo, Ernest, turn your
But-
camera off, bro. You need to
Yeah,
stop.
yeah. That's my surprise team. Do I see him making it? No, but like I said, I'm going out on a limb on that team. Yeah, you can make fun of me right now, but oh well. So I know y'all Laker fans don't want to hear it.
It's not.
but
It's not even all right. I can't. The ship has sailed. Sorry, I'm going off. It's not the fact that I'm a Laker fan or Armani's a Laker. It has nothing to do with that at all. I promise you, fans out there, it has nothing to do with the very soon 18-time world champion Los Angeles Lakers. It has nothing to do with that. But here's my issue with the Sacramento Kings. Marvin Bagley does not want to be there. He's gone this season. You could book that. He's not staying there. Buddy Hield is gone this season. You can book that. He doesn't want to be there either. Luke Walton is not really a great coach.
he should have been fired years ago.
My thing with the Kings, what Western Conference team is going to fall off from last year? That wasn't a play-in, or that was a bottom feed that was like the bottom of the bracket last year.
It looks like the same
Spurs.
the same teams that made the playoffs last year is looking like
They're going to make it this year. They're going to return and make it this year.
Mhm.
Memphis.
Spurs.
So who were the 4 teams in the play-in last year? Lakers,
Warriors, Memphis, and the Spurs.
Spurs.
Yep.
There's only one team that's going to fall off of there. That's the
It
Spurs.
might be the Spurs. Exactly.
It's going to be the Spurs, right? So now you have to consider.
The Pelicans.
You have to consider of course, you have to consider the Pelicans. I think they'll be better this year.
The Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves, maybe. Who knows? But I think Anthony Edwards is going to have a really good year this year. So,
What about the Thunder and Rockets? They're the two lottery teams.
Rockets are not worried about because the Rockets are. It is what it is. Thunder also, but so if you look at it, right? If you look at the West, your top 6 teams are going to be both LA teams. No, no. Scratch that. You're going to have the Lakers and no order. So I'm just throwing it out there. Top 6 teams without the play-in. Lakers, right? Utah, Phoenix, right?
Dallas.
Okay.
Utah.
I said Utah. So I said Lakers, Utah, Phoenix, Dallas. That's 4. 2 more spots.
Denver.
That's 5. One more spot.
Portland.
That's 6. Now we get to 7. Clippers, Warriors, Grizzlies. That's the 8 teams right there. It doesn't matter. Like the Kings are not better than those teams.
I'm not talking about top 8. I'm talking about the playing tournament. 9 and 10.
We're talking sleeper, meaning they're gonna make noise. Like no way the Kings are nowhere near that. And again, they're sleepers for a reason. So I could be wrong, right? And you could be right. But currently constructed, no, leave them Sacramento Queens alone. No. In the words of Shaq.
So you're gonna say the Pelicans were a sleeper team because they haven't impressed me in the last 3 years with Zion.
So, okay, since we're on the topic and I haven't spat my sleeper teams yet, I'm going to start in the East first. You know what? Since we're on the West, I'll just continue with the West. My Western Conference sleeper is the Golden State Warriors. If Klay Thompson comes back and he is 80% Klay Thompson, they're a team that we have to watch out for. The Warriors.
I'll say this, but I feel like from like a basketball fan standpoint, entering this season, it's kind of like you automatically assume that Klay Thompson is going to come back, but now we know.
But he's not coming back until January.
Until January, right? Exactly. So
you know what I mean, so you're expecting Steph to play at this MVP type level for 35 to 40 games this year in order for them to stay afloat or at least out of the play-in scenario.
I see what you're saying now. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So that's why
it's a thing. It's a thing to worry about Steph. But then it's a thing to worry about the Warriors. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
And I feel like last year we kind of I feel like everybody did. Everybody was like, we ain't got to worry about the Warriors. Like, we just got to worry about Curry. Curry can get his. Beat them. Right. But, Curry will get his. But the Warriors, we're going to beat them. You know what I mean? So, okay. You put it in that perspective, honestly.
And that's was my thinking. I'm like, okay, are they a contender? No. But can they be? I mean, if April, May roll around, they can be.
What we said. Remember what we said. They're going to be a really, really dangerous team. They're going to be the wild card team, and the team that has a lot of draft picks and good management. They become really, really dangerous. They have all the leverage in the world.
Yeah, and so I just think, with Klay coming back, you slide, Andrew Wiggins to his natural position at the 3.
Yep.
Now your depth has gotten a little bit better. So, you have JTA coming off the bench now. You'll have Wiseman back healthy, Kevin Looney's back. Like, I just think the Warrior team is going to be.
And you got Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, exactly. And
IQ's on 100.
Right. I just think they're going to be a sleeper team to actually make some noise in the playoffs. Now, if what Eric is saying, a team that's a bottom feeder, so to speak, no disrespect, that surprises to get in, that's the Pelicans. I think it's the Pelicans. I think Willie Green is going to be a 1,000 times a better coach than Stan Van Gundy. And I just think Zion at this point now has to understand I have something to prove.
Exactly.
There's no more. There's 2 all-stars in your team, bro. It's you and Brandon Ingram. There's no excuse no more. There's no excuse. And I get it. I understand the organization is wacky. It's.
I think the organization's on the clock.
No, of course they have to be.
Clock.
They have to be.
Yeah.
They have to be.
And plus, I think next year is his 4th year, right? Zion.
Yeah.
So he has to sign the rookie extension. He's eligible for a rookie extension. So you're gonna have to offer him that rookie extension? Is he gonna sign it? That's the question.
You never know.
You never know.
Never know. So that was my sleeper for the West, and my 2. It was the Pelicans and the Warriors, and then my other sleeper. So segue to Eastern Conference. I have 2 sleeper teams for the East. Obviously, I'm going to go with the obvious sleeper. That's the Miami Heat. I think with the issues surrounding the Nets and the Sixers, it may be the Heat and Bucks as the last 2 teams standing in the East. So I kind of see it's going to be I would say this: the Heat are going to be like the Knicks of last year, and what I mean by that is the Knicks made you play hard every time you had to play them last year. Miami is going to be they're going to be difficult to be playing against in the regular season.
But then again, I'm also saying pretty much the same thing I said about the Warriors. It's but the difference is like everybody's here. You feel me? We got Jimmy, we got Bam, we got Kyle Lowry added to the mix, and we still got Vo is still on the injury, right?
And I think Marcus Morris is on the Heat team.
Right. So
Markeith, yeah.
Yeah, Marquise
right.
Holmes.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we kind of already looked in and like, all right, oh, the Heat is going to be there. You know what I mean? Like, and we said this on, I believe the first podcast when we was going through like the rankings, like the Heat was going to be like the dangerous team or the team that you don't want to play in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, if the Spurs, if the Bucks or the Nets or the Sixers or Bucks or Nets is having an off day, the Heat will probably be that team to knock them off.
Yeah, for sure. And my actual sleeper, and I actually believe they're actually going to be a second round exit, maybe. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bulls. I think looking at that roster, the Chicago Bulls they're going to make some noise in the Eastern Conference this year, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on them. I don't know why people are so low on them.
I think so.
I think you know why, because of the bench. I'm
but
the bench is like, okay,
they're gonna. But I'm telling you right now, they're gonna run teams out the gym because they're gonna be up and down. Run Zach LaVine, Lonzo, DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso. Like those guys are gonna just be running teams off the floor because their tempo is going to be ridiculous.
And you got Big Hole in the middle.
Yeah, right. Who is a scorer and an all-star.
And don't forget Patrick Williams and Kobe White.
Kobe White
could light it up, and Patrick Williams could play very good defense. So I think the Bulls have an opportunity, barring of what happens with the Nets and the Sixers and whatever else that happens throughout the NBA years, right? Injuries and what may have you. The Bulls have an opportunity to replicate what the Hawks did, and be that surprise team that oh shit, like we didn't expect them to be this good. We knew they were going to be good, but we didn't expect them to be this good.
Understandable.
So I think, like, think about it. When was the last time DeMar DeRozan played? Well, when was the last time DeMar DeRozan wasn't the second guy?
Meaningful basketball
and play meaningful basketball. He's you can make a case he's the third guy on this team.
True.
He's never been that, right? So also this gives a chance to see, okay, Lonzo, now you have pieces around you. What can you do as the decision maker, as the point guard for the team? I think based on what I've seen in his career, obviously in LA, he is going to thrive in that position. So I really think the Bulls are I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to call them a top 4 team in the East.
No, nah.
They're going to be better than the Knicks, bro. I'm sorry. They're going to be better than the Knicks.
Here's the thing, though. I don't see them being better than the Hawks. I don't see them being better than the Heat. I don't even see them being better than the Knicks because
but the Heat. So all right. Number 1 seed this year in the East to me is going to be the Bucks, followed by the Nets, then the Heat. After that, it's anyone's game to me. That's the tier in the East. It's the Bucks, Nets, and Heat, and then it's everyone else bunched together.
Okay, so with the Bulls, they implemented 3 new players onto their roster. With the Knicks, they kept.
See what happens when they talk about the Knicks. You see what happens, right?
I thought it was much.
Nah. The universe knows what was about to happen. He was about to say, I'm sure he was about to say, the Knicks care everybody, but yet and still forget that they just added a starting point guard that they have to figure out. Their defense is going to fall off. They added Evan Fournier. Is Richard Robinson going to stay healthy? At the end of the day, the Knicks didn't keep everybody. They kept the bench. The bench was lethal last year.
They let defense go and add offense.
They sacrificed defense for marginal offense, though. That's what I'm saying.
Because they were 22nd in offense last year, so they looked at what they needed to upgrade the roster on offense. They felt like they needed to upgrade up point, which they did with Kemba, and they needed a 3 with Evan Fournier. Now I know you're laughing because you don't believe those two. They were a plus 19 when they were Boston on efficiency last year.
Okay. Wait, stop right there. Because I knew you was going there. Stop right there. They were plus 19 when they were on the floor together. Who else was on the floor with them when they were plus 19?
It was Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Oh,
and now you
do
get
the Knicks have a Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown on their team? See,
got,
there has to be context in the conversation.
But here's the context though.
And again, I'm not saying the Knicks are going to be bad, guys. Like I'm not refuting that. Like I think the Knicks are a lock playoff team this year for sure. But at the end of the day, the Eastern Conference has gotten better, and the Knicks didn't make upgrades that to me that are going to keep them at the number 4 seed that they were last year. And wait, last point now, and you have the floor. And last year, teams thought the Knicks were a joke, right? So when they went to the Garden or when the Knicks came into town, they didn't take them seriously. And then they realized, oh shit, they're making us play dog hard defense every single night, where they're playing us tough like it's a playoff game every single night. Now teams are going to be geared up to they're not going to be surprised anymore. So you have to take that into consideration too. So at the end of the day, what we have to see is one, how far does their defense fall off? Because that's going to be very, very important. No matter how good and how great Tom Thibodeau is good at defense and coaching defense, it's the players' effort on the floor. And for the last couple of years, Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker have been horrid on defense. Horrid. They're going to get hunted every single night. Now, offensively, you're absolutely right, because I think they're going to be tough to guard when Julius Randle's on a tear, putting up 30, and then you're going to have Kemba Walker now on one-on-one coverage, or then you have Evan Fournier and pick and pops, right? And you got Mitchell Robinson rolling to the rim, and then no one's going to be thinking about RJ Barrett, so he's going to have open looks all night long. So I understand where you're coming from that perspective, but I just feel like I just have to see it first. I got to see it. I just got to see it first. I just got to see it, because Kemba has shown defensively it's terrible. But the floor is yours. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
But I don't think people like. My thing is, the defensive principles are there on the tips. So do I see them as a top 5 defensive team? No. Can I see him finishing top 10? I can see that. But I just don't see like a big defensive. I don't see it as a big defensive fall of, like, as y'all projecting to be. And plus, I think they replaced Elfrid Payton and Reggie Bullock with Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker to go with RJ Barrett, who I believe is going to have a big third season.
You guys are going all in on offense. It is clear.
Right.
I understand that. But
and on top of that, they kept the same bench that was lethal last year with Derrick Rose, Burks, Nerlens Noel, Obi, Quickly, who had summer leagues this past offseason, who didn't have last year. So they're going to be improved. And also,
but again, all I'm saying is I'm not refuting that they're not going to get better. All I'm saying is they're not going to catch nobody by surprise anymore. So teams are going to actually gear up and game plan for them. And win. And again, last year was last year, but when the Hawks were able to game plan against the Knicks, the Knicks shit the bed for 4 games. Julius Randle shit the bed. That's it. It is what it is, right? Because teams were able to game plan because they understood what he was doing on the offensive end. Now, again, you add Kemba Walker and you add Evan Fournier to that mix, it gets a little bit easier for Julius Randle to kind of go off. But then now defensively, you're gonna have what? You're gonna have 3 guys at your starting 5 on the floor who don't play defense.
Well, also, here's the thing though. You talking about how teams will game plan against the Knicks. They can't game plan. They can't game plan against things like they did last year. So if you're talking about teams are going to game plan versus the Knicks the way that like last year, who was to say that? What about the Knicks game plan for those other teams? Get what I'm saying? So it won't be like it won't be as okay we can game plan with Kemba, with this matchup, with Julius, with this matchup, they also got to worry about, okay, so on the other side, how we match up with them. So
Yeah, but the
it's
East
really
has gotten
interesting to
better, though.
see
That's what
how
I'm saying.
yeah,
The East has
I get
gotten better.
that.
It's way better than last year. So, like for instance, right? Last year, right, the Knicks were the best defensive team in the Eastern Conference, right? They were the number one. They were the best team in the Eastern Conference. After that, right, you had the Knicks. Then you had the next Eastern Conference team was the Heat at 5, right? Then after the Heat, you had the Sixers, and then after the Sixers, you had the Pistons, right? And these are all points allowed, right? So now, if you look at the landscape this year, the Knicks are going to fall off from a top 5 defensive team. The Heat are probably going to move up to a top 5 defensive team, right? Sixers are going to drop without Ben Simmons. Then you look at the rest, then you're going to have – there's really no one else, right, in the East that, aside from Miami and Milwaukee – sorry, Milwaukee's on this list too – that are not going to be prolific defensive teams in the Eastern Conference, which means offensively, a lot of teams are going to score a lot of points in the Eastern Conference. Can the Knicks withstand that? Can they match the points is what I'm saying. I don't know if they can, because Julius Randle he's not a one-dimensional guy, but his skill set is predicated on giving the ball, move out the way. He doesn't move well without the ball.
Number one option.
Huh? Wait, what?
He's not the number one option on a championship team. He's not the number one option on a championship team.
He's not. Absolutely not. He's like the third. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, now he is going to be the number one option, regardless. He's going to be the number one option. His style is he doesn't play well without the ball. He's not a great cutter or anything like that. He's give me the ball, move out the way. I'm going to go to work. How are you going to fold in Kemba Walker, who doesn't move well without the ball either? The only player on your, because your starting five is going to be probably Mitchell Robinson, right? Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Evan Fournier, and Kemba Walker. That's going to be your starting five. Where in the offense does Kemba Walker fit if the number one primary scorer is Julius Randle? Like that's where I get skeptical on how well the Knicks can be, because now you're taking a dip defensively, so you won't be as good defensively, but then your offense isn't going to be top tier neither. So, that's why this is why I have this stance on the Knicks. I just have to see it, because right now I don't think they're a top 4 seed in the East. I think they're borderline 6 seed or playing. That's just my opinion, and I just think Chicago have a better fit offensively of what they want to do, rather than, because your prolific scorer is going to be Zach LaVine. He can shoot the 3 ball. He can move off the ball. He can get to the cup. He can do all those things. You're going to have your setup guy, who's Lonzo Ball, who does not care about scoring. It's not his game. All he cares about is facilitating and getting others involved. That's to me is the upper hand that they're going to have, because the defense won't be as prolific in the East as what we thought it was going to be. I think it's going to be Milwaukee and Miami, and then everyone else is going to be middle of the pack of defensive team. I think all the defensive stats are going to be out west. That's just my opinion.
Well, we agree to disagree.
Yeah. We just have to see what happens. We just have to see what happens.
I just don't see with the Bulls, because to me it's just okay. You add the 3 players, right? Lonzo, big upgrade. DeMar DeRozan, big upgrade, and you still got Zach LaVine, who's he got you 27. He averaged 27 last year, and Vucevic. Now what I was hearing was that they might experiment and put DeMar DeRozan at the 4. I'm like,
he played some of the 4 last year.
He played some of the 4 last year, and that worked in San Antonio. He played the 4. It's the same thing like Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay played the 4 last year as well. He's gonna play the 4 this year in Utah. Yeah. Like you can you can
It's
get
a
away
whole
with.
different.
It's a whole
Yeah.
different game now. You can.
Yeah.
It's all right now. The league has been all positionless basketball right now.
We don't got Horace Grants running around everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Your
it,
biggest power forward is probably
6'8".
right, and LeBron is playing power forward this year. Like it's just
Jay Crowder
you
was
can-
playing power forward last year.
exactly.
He's 6'7".
Yeah, you can get away. Draymond is the center. You can get away with it. He can get away with it in the league nowadays. So him playing the four doesn't bother me at all.
Mhm.
I think their death lineup is Vucevic, DeRozan, Zach, Caruso, Lonzo.
Yeah. Yep.
That's their death lineup.
Yep. So you got defense straight up in the 1 and
Yeah.
2 position, and then also in the 5 position as well too.
Right.
Yep.
But we'll see. Again, I still think the Knicks are going to be a prolific team in the East. I just don't think they'll be. I don't think they'll be a top 4 seed like they were last year. That's just my take. I don't see them. I don't see them usurping the Hawks. I don't see them usurping even the Sixers right now. I just don't see them being a top 4 seed, which leads me to believe they're either playing at 7 at worst. I don't think they'll drop lower than 7, or they're at 5 or 6. Like that. That's it. Like that's their ceiling for me.
So how many wins? If that's the case, how many wins you got? You got them because Vegas has them as 40.
Yeah, the 41 and a half they had them at. I'm gonna take the over on that though. I got them at like 43, 44 wins.
I got them around 46, 47. Because
we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see.
My thing is they're gonna steal wins that they're not supposed to have like they did last year.
No, they're not though, bro. Because teams are going to be prepping for. They're going to be ready for them this time around. That's just my thing. The Knicks are not going to sneak up on nobody this year. Like last year, people projected the Knicks to win 22 games. So if you look at that, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, like we're not going to."
So other teams is not preparing properly for.
Yeah, they're not prepared because they know that they see a level of talent. I mean, if you got Alfred Payton walking in as your starting point guard, you think I'm going to take that shit seriously? No, I'm not. But now I see, he got Kimba. There's Evan Fournier there. There's you got Julius Randle who showed out last season. Now teams that have tape, they can watch mannerisms. They can see what you do. Now people are going to actually take the Knicks seriously and say, yeah, okay, like we're going to be prepped for you guys tonight. So I think it'll be tougher for the Knicks to kind of sneak up and win games they're supposed to lose. I think they'll lose games they're supposed to lose and win games they're supposed to win, and evidently it'll get them to 40-something on the low end of 42, 44 games, and then be a 5, 6, or 7 seed in the East.
Okay, I just believe that. Also, I just believe that. Our other.
But it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I'm thinking of our other teams in the East and take the regular season seriously, like the Knicks are. Because Tibbs, he wants to win every game.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this because we're going over a little bit, but I'm going to ask you this, and we can end the segment.
Yeah,
Tibbs is going to run your guys to the grass. What he does, right, and that rightfully so. It gets the job done. Can Kemba Walker sustain that?
That's why they got Derrick Rose, and also they got those 2 rookies.
But can Derrick Rose sustain that?
They're not. I don't think they're gonna.
So here's what I'm saying. So now, like it. Now your coaching
minutes. Then you got spot minutes for Quickly. You got Alec Burks. Also, you got Miles McBride.
Alec Burks is a terrible defender. He's horrible. You know that.
He showed out in those fourth quarters. When you need offense and need that point guard, he showed out.
I hear you, but he's inconsistent. He's not consistent every night.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
His defense was I had to deal with it.
We have to see first. The Knicks are going to be one of the most interesting teams this year because I don't know what their identity is right now. I just don't because it's not going to be defense, huh?
Well, the identity is still going to be defense, but it's not going to be as much as last year.
It's not, because to me, I just think you're gonna have players who just not the fact that they don't want to play defense, is will their bodies allow them to. I don't know if Kemba Walker is going to be Kemba Walker playing under a Tibbs system is going to be very interesting to see, because if Tibbs is going to demand Kemba Walker to play every game 39 to 40 minutes a night.
Oh, that's not happening.
But I'm saying you don't know. You don't know. Tibbs does that religiously on every single team. He does that. It doesn't matter. So is his body going to last? I don't know. So I have to wait and see. I just have to wait and see. Just got to wait and see. Because if you lose out, if Kemba Walker is hurt, and God forbid he doesn't get hurt this year, because I really want the Knicks to be good, because I really want the talk of the town to be the Knicks and not the Nets, because the Nets give me so much Clipper vibes. It's so annoying.
No, that's facts. That's facts.
No, they do. They talk like they won something. They didn't win anything.
Yeah, but, and the thing is, we're like, you know, we're, even though we're Laker fans, like we live in New York, so we
understand like the staple exactly. Franchise, and what runs the city,
like,
right?
Madison Square Garden been here for since forever. Yeah, Barclays came up in 2012. You know what I mean? Like, even though the Nets has the better team right now, and they was able to get the better team way quicker than the Knicks could when they had Melo and stuff like that. All right, I get that, but it's just like it's a New York Knicks thing. Everybody rocks a New York Knicks hat. Everybody rocks the blue and orange. Now, black and white is cool too, but it's a Knicks town.
Just look at last year during the playoffs and the crowds.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. And so back to my point, like the Nets give me so much Clipper vibes. So like whatever, and you know, people think they're gonna run roughshod over the NBA, which is cat, because you know we got the three best players on one team. Needs to say, but what I'm saying is that I just think I have to wait and see what the Knicks are going to do, and I want them to be good. I just don't know what their identity is, because of what fans like you, Eric, want or know what the identity is, and what Tibbs, the coach, wants the identity to be. I don't think that capitulates to what the players. So I don't know. I just have to wait and see, because again, Tibbs is going to want to play hard every single night, and you're going to play defense, you're going to hustle, you're going to die for loose balls, you're going to rebound, you're going to block shots, you're going to do all that.
Demand that too.
He's going to demand it. Yeah, Eric, you know this. He's going to demand that from his players. Yeah. Is Kemba Walker going to be able to survive that? I don't know. Recency history has shown that Kemba Walker has not been healthy for a full season since
Charlotte, yeah. He went down. Everything went downhill.
So, and again, like I said, we could be wrong. But as it stands right now, I don't know what the identity is, and I have to wait and see. It's all speculation.
All speculation. Agreed.
I'll get my first look in on Tuesday.
Yeah, preseason. I don't even judge the preseason yet. You got to see what you here's when you could really judge them, when they're playing the Hawks, when they're playing the Nets, when they're playing the Bucks. Like that's when you kind of measure. Okay, like you kind of see glimpses and flashes of what they can do, what they can be, or what really looks bad. Like you're gonna see it. So. Because you're always going to measure against those elite teams to see where you are. You have to do that. So, yes, preseason is a good barometer, but you're really going to see what their talent level is going to be like, and the effort is going to be like when they're tested against elite teams.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I know I'm going Tuesday to the first preseason game, so I'll get a firsthand myself, see how this team meshes and gels. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But fan base has high hopes. I myself, after last year, I have high hopes for them to at least
and as you should.
As
you should.
And also we got our own concerns, especially with Tibbs and the rotations. Is he going to play some of the young guys? Is he going to run the starting five into the ground? How's Julius Randle going to rebound after that playoff debacle? You know, so we got a whole lot of questions with this team. So we'll see. So, And on that note, that's our conclusion to the third episode of the Swoosh Shoot podcast. It was a good spirited debate, I felt.
Mm-hmm.
It was
And
the
Yeah,
energy.
for sure.
Felt the
yeah,
energy.
felt the
For
energy.
sure. For sure.
You know,
Yeah.
we agree with some stuff, we disagree with some stuff, but hey, that's what you get on the podcast. You know,
Yeah.
not everyone's gonna agree on one topic.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be doing another one next week. We just got to finalize the date.
Yep.
Probably
TBD.
like a Thursday.
Yep. Around that time,
Thursday.
also look out soon. We'll start having some guests on. A few people
Yes.
have reached out to me to be on the show. They're really interested in what we're doing, so look out for that. And that's going to be some crazy debates. We got some crazy Philly fans that's going to
It's
be
gonna be
joining.
like-
I know.
It's
We
it's
have,
gonna be like
I know,
lunchroom
ask
talk,
around.
man.
yeah.
Lun-
We're gonna have
Lunchroom
some.
talk.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
like those Nike break
Yeah.
rooms, man. It's gonna be. It's gonna be. We're gonna have some crazy Philly fans on here. The one I'm really excited for, I'm not gonna tell you guys yet, but the one I'm really excited for is this one guy. He's an avid Knick fan like you, Eric. So you really like him, but he loves Kawhi Leonard, and it burns me up. It just burns me up. So, but yeah,
And Paul George. And Paul George.
Yeah, Paul George is his boy too,
And,
which is
and he like
insane.
Westbrook.
And he loves Russ. He's all over the place, but he's a Knicks fan. It's crazy. It's crazy. But he thinks the Nets are going to win the championship. It's unreal. It makes no sense. But anywho, we'll see you guys next week. And again, stay tuned. Again, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Right? Just
We're
we're
gonna put out more content on Instagram, so just bear with us.
look out for that stuff and join the conversation, guys. Right? We're casuals, right? But we also know ball. So tune in next week and.
And
That's
also,
it.
please like and subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to our podcast. It'll be available in audio podcasts later
Yes, sir.
tonight. So look out for that. I myself am Eric signing off with Armastradamus and
Peace.
Ernest. We'll see you next week's podcast, episode 4 coming up.
Peace.
Peace.
Yep, that was a good one right